Hey everybody, welcome to another edition of Shooting the with Yankee. As always, I'm Yankee, so let's start shooting. Today's topic is very topical because it was just announced a couple hours ago that the U.S. has joined in the fighting against Iran with Israel. They have entered the fray on Israel's side. And what I want to know is, how do you feel about this? Do you think this is something we should be doing? Do you think this is something we shouldn't be doing? Do you think it's going to have negative consequences? Do you think it's something needed to be done? Do you support Israel? And you can be pro going to war with Iran and be anti-Israel or pro-Israel. That just happens to be they're also fighting with them right now. Doesn't mean you're pro-Israel if you're anti-Iran. I will start us off, as always, and say I am no fan of Israel, period. Don't like their government at all. Don't like their government policies. Don't like the way they do business. Don't like the way they spread their influence around the world. I don't care for Israel, period. And I do not think that's anti-Semitic because I have no problem with Jewish people. Remember, Jewish and Judaism is a religion. And I have no problem with Jewish people. And I have no problem with Israel being a Jewish state. That's not my problem. It's their politics. And it's not anti-Semitic to hold them accountable for what they do as a nation. It would be anti-Semitic to hate on them because of their religion. But as far as their state goes, I think they do some pretty shady things. I think Netanyahu is a criminal, and I don't support them. However, I like Iran even less, I think. In fact, definitely dislike Iran, ever since 1979. And who can remember that? I remember it plainly. Never been a fan of Iran ever since the Shah got dethroned. And you can watch that country degrade over the decades, how it went from a modern society to a backwards ass theology, much like how a lot of people want to do in the U.S. How they started treating women, minorities, different religions, gay people, etc. You just watched them degrade into a barbaric, backwards ass, nothing, nowhere, backwater country. So I'm not a fan of them. And yes, I think allowing Iran to have nuclear technology is bad because they are a nation of terrorists, basically. The people themselves, not so much. Leadership, yes. And unfortunately, the leadership and the religion that runs the country has convinced a lot of them that the only way they'll ever go to heaven is if they kill all the the people that aren't like them. So I can't support them at all. So I think in the long run, it's probably something needs to be doing. Whether bad things will come from it, probably will be some bad things come from it. But sometimes you got to stand up and do what needs to be done, even if it's not popular. And right now, I don't think we're going to go to full war with Iran. But I do think steps needed to be taken against them. And all these people that are apologizing for Iran, I don't think they know what they're talking about. Now, granted, I'm open to hearing people's ideas and what they have to say because I am not the expert on Iran or Israel. But right now, as much as I dislike Israel, I dislike Iran more. And I think that they are a potential threat in the future. Not that I'm saying Israel isn't, but let's see what other people think. Maybe they're more educated on the subject than me, and they'll enlighten me some over here. Felice Shanice says, seems like this started in 1979. Maybe now it will end. That's true. It did kind of start in 1979. That's when they, changed their government and did all their hostage taken and all that stuff. Well, they changed the government before 1979, but you know what I'm talking about. So, yeah, I've not been a fan of them since then. And I seriously do believe their government needs to topple. And I love all the propaganda they're putting out that 100% of the people stand behind Khomeini and stand behind the supreme leader and blah, 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 when they know that's not true. Probably 60% of their population is just waiting for a chance to revolt. In fact, a lot of the resistance groups are saying, yeah, we're waiting for our opportunity here. So it's going to be curious. I think we might spark off a civil war in Iran, and they definitely need one. Sean Bain says it's going to wake up sleep Wes. Okay, once again, Sean Bain has chimed in with some gibberish. I really think he needs to stop drinking during the chats. But, You party however you want to party. That's not not for me to say. Edgar Cortez says Iran has a history of radical fundamentalism and a commitment to destroying Israel. As a veteran, I hate to see the U.S. at war, but in this case, Iran should not be allowed to develop a nuclear weapon. I kind of feel the same way. That kind of mimics my feelings, or is similar to my feelings. Let's just say that. John Heasley said, I don't think we should be involved. He didn't say why, but he doesn't think we should be involved. Maybe he doesn't think Iran's a threat to us ever, just Israel. Maybe he'd like to see him destroy Israel, or Israel destroy them, and just sit back and watch them destroy each other. I don't know. Sometimes with two people you don't like are fighting, you just let them fight it out. Phenomenal Snowman says, way more important issue at home. Fuck Israel. Let them fight their own wars. Leave the Middle East for good. Fuck Islam, Judaism, Christianity, etc. Well, I have a little bit of that too. Let's take care of problems at home and let's just stay out of the Middle East. Now, I know we want to stay in there because we need their oil. Well, then let's get off of oil. If that's one of the reasons we have to be mired in the Middle East's religious conflicts and politics, well, then let's get off oil. We'll use the oil we make here at home for the things we can use it for, and we'll cut down our dependence on foreign oil. And hell, I think we can do it. Be a good motivation to do it. Mikey D says, not so much supporting Israel. Iran has been yelling into America and Israel for over 40 years, cannot have nukes and won't stop by themselves. I agree, even though I'm choking there at the end. Yeah, I don't think Israel can be trusted with nuclear weapons. I don't think Pakistan and India can be trusted with them, but there we go. Definitely not Iran. Because they don't, you always think, well, people won't use nuclear weapons because it's mutually assured destruction. Well, when you have people that's what they want everyone on the other side to die, and then they're okay with dying, because as long as they killed them, they get rewarded in heaven and their life is better. And right now they're living in a fucking desert, fucking sheep and eating cornbread all the time. So what do they got to lose? Kill their enemies and die themselves, and they'll consider themselves better off. It's not the kind of people you really want to have nukes. We got Ghost Shadow weighing in here, and Ghost Shadow said, leadership of Iran should have been removed decades ago, and Israeli government can F off. Been there in the 70s when my dad was stationed in Germany. Yes, I'm not a fan of the Israeli government, period. But sometimes things are bigger threats, and Iran is definitely a bigger threat. Where are we at here? John M. Mandrick says, ridiculous. No threat to U.S. Trump just wants to look tough and be a military leader. He does want to look tough. I don't doubt that. I mean, I'm sure that's influenced his opinion, and that's how I'm sure they manipulated him. The people that feel that there's actually a legitimate reason to do this and want to do it, I'm sure that's one of the ways they've manipulated him into going along with it. Whether he should or shouldn't, I'm not saying whether he should or he shouldn't, but they want him to, and one of the ways I think they can assure him to is it makes you look tough, and then you can say you're a wartime president. So, and he's going to jump at that. So I think even if it was a bad idea, he might still go for it. Mr. Furley said YouTube won't allow Iranian comments emailed. Clint Barella chimed in here and says, Torn, Iran has sponsored terrorism and targeted civilians since the revolution in 1979. I want them to be held accountable. However, military strikes could prompt severe instability in the region. Also, anytime military action is taken, you have to access the threat posed to the U.S. I'm not sure that happened here. Yeah, I don't think they assessed a threat to the U.S. I mean, that threat's always been there. It's minimal, but it's there. I think in this case, it's a threat to Israel. And the people in our government that really want to go to war are on the, bought and paid for by Israel, which is a lot of our politicians are bought and paid for by Israel. Although I'm not going to say that just because they have a bias and a reason to want to do it, that it's still the wrong thing to do, because even though that is true, and I do agree with that completely, that we're only stepping in not because of a threat to us, we're stepping in because of a threat to Israel, and Israel owns a large part of our politicians. But it doesn't make it necessarily the wrong thing. You know what I mean? Because does anyone figure out what I'm saying there? It's like, oh, I oppose the reason you're doing it, but it kind of still is a thing that needs to be done eventually. That's a possibility. So am I making myself clear? I feel like I'm not making myself clear. I overcomplicate things. Edgar Cortez said, many of the Iranian people are good folks. Yes, they are. The problem is the religious theocratic government and its fundamentalism. Exactly. And then yet you still got evangelicals in this country want us to be a theology. And they can't look around the world and see what theology is like everywhere else. Theocracies are like everywhere else. Scrooge said, doesn't the Ruger 10mm carbine use Glock mags? I don't know. And that's not on topic, but I did ask that question earlier. He's answered me. Don't want to think about it. 10mm carbines, yes. He doesn't want to think about the war in Iran. Well, you got to think about it. Well, actually, you probably don't. You probably, if you turned off your TV for a week or two, you probably never know anything about it. If you didn't look up the news on the internet and you didn't watch the news on TV, you probably wouldn't even know about it. It's not like it would affect your day. I didn't even have this topic set till just a little bit ago, and that's because when I was sitting on the shitter before I came to the chat, I was reading the news briefs, and it was one of the first things popped up. I was actually looking at gun.news, but that popped up. I was wanting to know about gun stuff, but it showed me that. Johnny Mandrick says, remember the liberty. I think most people do. Well, I don't know if I'd go that far to say that. Chunky D said, I'm in favor of it. He says, go get them Iranians. Get that government. Take that government out of power is what I say. I think that's what he's saying too. Johnny Mandrick chimed in again. We've struck a chord with Johnny Mandrick. He is going on today. He said, look at what Israel has done and tell me they should have nukes. Oh, I don't think Israel should have nukes. I'm not even 100% convinced Israel should be a state, should be their own nation, to be honest. I think it is an example of people with money and influence going over and just taking something over like it's theirs just because they can. People are like, yeah, but then people attacked them. Well, yeah, if someone decided to march in my yard and say, this is my property now because my ancestors used to live here and it's mine, I would have a problem with that. Okay, go hush. But like I say, it's a very complicated thing, and I ain't going to solve it. Plus, it would make my head hurt thinking about it too much, so I don't want to have a headache. Felice Shanice says, General Dynamics Raytheon futures just went up. Well, of course, anytime we have war, a lot of things go up. A lot of the contractors, it's good for Wall Street when we get into conflicts. And Wall Street needs it right now, so that's probably another influencing factor. That's a factor a lot of people often don't think about but yeah, a lot of times when we decide to get involved in a conflict, it's because does the stocks need a boost? Because that happens. Jar Jar is my lover chimed in and said 30 months. And I think he just means he's been a WAP member for 30 months, and he has. And you could have said something about Iran instead of just saying, hey, I got my 30-month WAP chat. But that's what he did. He just chose to say 30-month WAP chat. All right, we got one last person weighing in here. Let's see what they got to say. Let's see what they have to say. So far, I think most people have been pro. I think. I don't. There's been a couple against, but I think most people have been pro taking out Iran, at least taking out their government. So, or that they can't be allowed to have nukes. The last person weighing in here is George Powell. Says they can't have nukes. Well, they can, but we don't want them to. I definitely don't want them to. They could end up with them if something wasn't done. That's why I guess it's something does need to be done. I don't know if this was the right steps. A lot of people say, "Oh, we had an agreement with them about stopping their nuclear program, and it was working, and Obama did it, and then Trump stopped it. Now Trump's starting it again, and now he's turning against his own interest because he already had it started again." And I'm like, yeah, but do you really trust them to do what they say they're going to do? They often cheat quite a bit. So I don't know if I trust them or not. I do trust a bomb leveling the. If they say, oh, well, we're just using this nuclear power plant for energy and we're not enriching any kind of anything or creating any weapons or blah, blah, blah. But, you can't come look, but you take our word for it. I don't trust that as much as I do a bomb just turning that area into glass. So, all right. That looks at, let me switch over here. Hold on. I'm going to switch back to live chat real quick. See if Wilbur has weighed in. Live chat. What's it say? Do you think the Smith? Oh, no, that's something different. I think the tally is 4 being involved and 6 against it. Lots of concern all around. Oh, you think so? There's been more people against being involved over there than being for being involved. Oh, okay. That's not how I read it. Did you? But I guess maybe I was seeing what I wanted to see. But like I said, that seems to be what people are saying. I'm still, it's an evolving opinion as far as I'm concerned. Like I said, it's so complicated and it's so. But thanks everyone for weighing in over here, participating in the conversation. I appreciate it. How about you out there in YouTube land? What do you think about us entering into possibly into war with Iran? Let me know in the comment section. And if you want to weigh in on one of these topics in person, come to one of our live chats. We do them every day at 6 p.m. You can weigh in for the shooting the shit with Yankee topic and then stick around. Don't anyone go anywhere because immediately after we do one of our other programs, today it'll be the No FUD Zone. Hopefully we'll get enough people who want to participate to do that. But we'll see here in a minute. Otherwise, I want to thank everyone for coming. Hope to see you again tomorrow. Until then, remember, always carry and stay safe. Until I see you again. Hey everybody, Yankee here. Before we go, I just want to take a second to remind everyone that this channel is 100% viewer funded. We don't take a penny from advertisers, retailers. We don't take money from political organizations. There's no one telling me what I need to tell you. Everything that we do is done through the generosity of our viewers, either buying merchandise or becoming a patron or a Subscribe Star member. You're all the ones that support Pets and Vets and TYMP. And that's the reason I can stay true to myself and loyal only to the people who watch my channel. And I can spend my time talking about what I want to talk about, telling what I think needs to be said, and giving you my uncensored take on things I think you need to hear. So if you'd like to help keep things that way, please support the channel by becoming a patron, a Subscribe Star supporter, or just going over to my web store and buying some merch. The links are all in the upper corner of this video.